Yeah, I was sick last week.
This is the Target Development Subcommittee,
Yes,
not the full board.
got it.
So are we gonna wait a little bit, see if someone else shows up before we call the meeting to order? Dixon coming?
We haven't heard from them.
Okay.
Yeah, aside from that, that's us.
You had more.
We get. Alright, so let's call the meeting to order, right? So, to approve the consent agenda, I'd like to flip something here from the complaint to after the new business.
Okay.
Is that
That's
good?
up to you guys.
We don't need a motion, do we?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, we do.
I'm voting for it.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting?
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Old business, none, right? New business, a mission statement. My thoughts on a mission statement is just try to refine what we're gonna do so we don't jump all over the place. Previously, this committee had done kind of big project things, not so much grants, or we put together recommendations and then Cindy Bezek's group would follow through on all of it. I'm sure we can discuss grants and things like that, and that would be open for discussion, or any ideas. I think target development was made for kind of bigger projects, something that even supports infrastructure where we can, and infrastructure to me is parking. So any ideas, Lance? Any thoughts? I mean, we don't have to make a decision today.
I've been thinking about making the rest of Howell here, one way to bake in the whole way. Then you can side park all the vehicles along the road, get another 25, 30 cars there.
I think that's a township thing and city council thing. I don't know that.
Yeah, that would be that would be a planning commission and a council.
Right, but it's in the TIF district, we could suggest it.
You could suggest it to planning commission and see what they,
Yeah.
what they consider.
I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I'm not commenting on them either.
Right.
I was just thinking, I don't know if that's, purview, even as a whole different board.
Well, they're gonna be complaining probably most about the money to do it.
Oh,
The,
okay.
The
Never thought of that.
The placemaking study that we had done in 2014, one of the goals of it, was to improve parking in our existing infrastructure and kind of, and one of the main things that they wanted to do towards that is eliminate one-way streets. We've got
But we made it.
couple of, yes, and speaking from experience, that was, a hardware store lost 30% of its business.
Right.
That road went one way.
As I stand outside of my store watching traffic go by, it's all traffic out of town and none into town that way. Anybody who pulls this direction usually going to the courthouse or somebody just in that block.
Okay.
But if you made it
I'm
one
getting a
way,
look at anything that increases parking.
if you just made the one way the whole way, we're already not losing anything because we already lost it. And now we're just getting more parking and maybe people will
Well, most
actually.
people avoid that stretch because they can't go all the way through.
Right, so maybe if we get more people to park there, maybe more people will go there.
Or you turn Howell Street back into
Oof.
I don't know, well, yeah, the whole conversation of whether this should be the way it is, it's been going on for 100 years.
Right. It's not a bad idea.
A lot of, do you have access to that study? It was in Arbor.
It's on the website.
Okay.
I've seen it, yeah, I've seen it.
They made a bunch of suggestions about, road improvements, and traffic pattern adjustments that, we questioned them pretty thoroughly at the time. And, I guess I wanna use that as a reference towards that. One of the things was making North Street completely, pass through, or one of the other options was blocking them off North Street.
Which one's that? I'm bad with roads around here.
North, that's where the Putnam Grove is.
Okay.
And that was universal, like there was a brainstorming meeting and 3/4 of the people there was, was there to say, no, do not block North Street.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that either.
Um,
It's hard enough trying to get around back here because this is one way.
Sure. But I'm looking at roads and vis-a-vis parking and, helping people stay in town versus easing their way out of town.
Right.
And I think that's great. As you said.
Okay.
That and giving taxes back is all I got.
I think on the giving taxes thing back, I think that's a whole TIFA meeting thing. I would propose that. That's why I wanted to have a mission statement about, let's staying on focus for, you know, projects within the district, right? That are a little bit bigger, that are not facade grants or things like that. Just, and look to identify. I have nothing in the front of my mind or anything. I like your idea about looking at the street configuration, the one lanes of it. Might not be a bad thing, I don't know.
Not losing anything from what I can tell. Maybe gaining something.
Could be, and then present it to, the planning commission, so. Well, do you have any thoughts or ideas?
Oh, okay. On what we should do next, what we should be.
If there is anything that's sticking out at you that,
I really think we should be, focusing on paying the city back as soon as possible, the BPU back as soon as possible. And towards that, I'm kind of keeping the budget low-key while looking for, like, researching things like road patterns and parking issues don't necessarily cost a lot of money.
Right.
And once we have, once we have funding to actually act upon, a goal, then we can look into actually doing something, but in the meantime, I think we should just be looking.
just looking, not committing to anything and
Yep.
keeping in the back of our mind, pay off that loan to BPU.
Totally settle our finances before we start looking to do something and committing to stuff.
Well, at least we need to have reasons to show up once a month on Tuesday, right?
Right.
Right, so just keep looking. I know, I've heard some things out there, but there's nothing that I would present today without learning more about it.
Or maybe even just kind of, don't need to take the lead at least every month with it in the greater city, infrastructure. Interesting project. I was, speaking with Ben Baldwin at Broad Street, and he was working towards putting a staircase down to the Fair Street parking lot. I mean, there's a ton of parking down there that isn't utilized by a lot of people. But for him to do that, he wouldn't have to be able to just put a staircase in, he'd also have to put an ADA ramp,
Yeah.
which would
Maybe
take out
one way or the
basically
other.
that whole hill, going back and forth, which isn't something he's gonna take on his own. But, I mean, if, that could be something that we could look at as a natural project that has benefits for an entire area. That isn't necessary, and he was already planning on paying for a staircase. Let's find out what a ramp costs.
Right.
Just an idea, and they're.
And I heard that before, and that was
Well,
one
it
of the.
might be wiser to, rather than doing it there, just go down and rework what is already there to make
Existing.
it
Okay.
compliant.
Okay.
Cause that's part of the problem, is that the existing stairway is not code compliant, and
Okay.
is an
I didn't even know
uncomfortable
there was a
staircase.
Yeah,
I always
it's
think you had to
flat.
walk all the way.
Is it all the way to the side?
Yeah,
I
all the way to the
know,
south.
Mm.
Yeah, there's an existing stairway, would be, I would think it would be more, because then then you're carrying the existing walk through as opposed to putting a walk mid-block,
Right.
which would carry traffic from the lower to Broad Street and would maintain the existing traffic patterns.
And that one example is, in the business operators and their staff could actually park down there, but the rest of the city, occupants could, it's a city parking lot.
Yeah, and the county used to utilized it when the annex building was where most of the offices were. Now that they have the new office building, they have their own parking lot, so they don't have to utilize it. So, and the city increased the number of overnight parking spaces so that those apartments that were over Trevathan's and over, filling station and, the co-op had,
Where
overnight
used.
parking spaces, there that they could utilize, rather than, because they can't park on Broad Street.
So, I thought about it, but I wanted to talk to him a little bit more and find out what his level of financial commitment is. And then I don't think you need a study on it, I think it'd just be advantageous, right? It's just a good thing. But money's an issue and.
So a similar vein, the district court annex building, that building, if you were to actually try to develop it for anything that wasn't a district court building, would be, I believe the county was trying to do so in the past, which is trying to sell it, but you talked about making streets one way. If you made that stretch of McCollum one way, you could put dedicated parking for that building, and all of a sudden it's very marketable.
Part of the problem with that is, the reason if you made Howell one way, you can fit cars on both sides in slanted parking. The road you're talking about is too narrow, you'd only have slanted parking on one side, so you fit way less cars than doing it on Howell. It's the only other, but either way. Cause I looked at that too.
These are the things that I'm thinking about. It kind of feels like we're all in the same.
Yeah, all I hear is there's no parking, that's all I hear from everybody.
Yes.
And there really isn't.
No.
Well, actually, there's more parking than you think. The problem is
There's a lot of
the
parking
city
there.
lots aren't fully utilized because people are unwilling to walk more than.
Yes,
a walk.
people aren't gonna change it then.
Right, never gonna change people.
If they can't see it, then they're not gonna walk towards it.
But the interesting thing is they'll park way out and walk all the way to the back of a Walmart or
Oh,
a
sure.
Meijer,
I can see
which
it.
is exactly the same distance as our downtown from site.
Or it's less, but
Okay.
you see
Right,
Walmart,
exactly.
there's
But
See
the-
your goal in front of you.
It's all about perspective.
These are just conversations like this, I mean, I think one thing would be talk to the owners over there and see what they're thinking, how much money they're willing, I know they're doing more than a good business in the underground, and the underground is probably the reason behind it. Any more comments, any more thoughts?
I'm spent.
So let's move on to, number 3, complaints. First, who's first?
What's that on reference to?
Jack called and asked to be added to the agenda. He said he had a complaint.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was that. I think, my whole concern is the Friends of the Dog Theater. And I'm gonna talk to Greg Bailey, which is Artworks, which is Friends of the Dog Theater,
You gonna talk for him?
to him.
Oh.
I got these 2 letters. I didn't, my kids, my daughter and my grandsons got these. But, my daughter sent in a letter to get 6 tickets to the opening. And the last day to apply for tickets, we got the letter, this letter, and my daughter's certified check back from the Friends of the Dawn, basically saying they didn't know who she was, and for that reason, they couldn't sell her tickets.
Can I read the letter?
Yeah, it also says that there was no name to assign the tickets to, which I never read any place that said they had to be assigned. I mean, in the application or anything, it just says contact this number or whatever, the post office box, that's what we did. So, that happened. So, as it was, we didn't get no tickets. The second letter is from, TIFA, Friends of the Dawn. This first one isn't signed by anybody. It's saying that they understand that I was refused tickets. I never said that. They never told me I was refused tickets because I never applied for any tickets. So, and this is from the.
Is your daughter here?
No,
Granddaughter?
no, my daughter works out of state. She applied for the tickets, actually on, I think it was the 26th of
February.
January.
Yeah, we're in
It
January.
would have been January.
Mhm.
So, and this other one says that they understand that I'm saying that I was refused tickets, which is not true, and making other accusations, which, I picked up my grandson's ticket from Andrew. He told me it was non-transferable, which didn't mean anything to me, because I wasn't using it anyhow. So I left it for my grandson where he works. That's all I did. I was a carrier from one spot to the other spot. They're basically accusing my grandson of giving his ticket to somebody else that used it, and from what I understand, that's not true. But anyhow, here's the two letters.
Okay. So you understand this is just like a little subcommittee. You heard what my comments were to begin with.
No,
I think if you're gonna address this situation, come before the full TIFA.
I'm going to, but
And provide copies of these letters
I will
in
do
the
that also.
package.
Why I was saying this now is because you guys have been meeting with the governance board together for months. So that's why I asked to be put on this one. Also asked to be put on the ticket board.
Yeah, I mean,
You expected the government store to be here, basically.
No, I didn't really, but I didn't know if they would be or not.
Right.
I just, I didn't know the meeting, that opening was gonna be such a private thing, that if they didn't know who you was, they wasn't gonna let you in or sell you a ticket. They sent my daughter back her $300 check, which was a donation to the Friends of the Dawn. You know, and from what she told me, she was gonna make a donation. She's got 4 kids, so the 6 tickets would have covered her 4 kids, and myself, which then that didn't happen, and I just kind of made my mind up that if they didn't want to sell to her, must be they didn't want the family money, so for that reason, I wasn't gonna buy a ticket, and I didn't try to buy a ticket. Mary told me if I wanted a ticket, to get back with her. I never did that, because I had made my mind up I wasn't gonna support it. I think that TIFA needs, and I know you guys are just, needs to look into who they're giving the management to of the Dawn Theater, because, you know, if they're all gonna be private little things, where's TIFA ever gonna get any money back? If they are.
you know, I'm not even following
Yeah.
what you're trying to say, Jack. I have no explanation of
Well,
why.
it's a business for TIFA, and they need to get some revenue.
Then send the
back.
check back and say this was meant to be a donation, and we're very sorry that, they didn't get tickets. I don't understand why that would
Well,
happen. I'm not,
It kind of says it there. I'm just,
right.
that's
so-
where I'm gonna leave it. I just think that TIFA and the development board needs to look into who they're assigning to do their work.
I think we're settled on that, and that's pretty confirmed who we're working with. And we've all been very happy with it.
Doesn't look like it.
What do you mean?
Jack McLean is a good businessman in this city.
Well,
Also,
I-
Lance Lashaway is a good businessman. They
So
were
am
both
I, so
rejected.
is,
Well, don't say that you're sitting here saying it's good for everyone, because obviously two very important people in this room feel like they were rejected, which makes me feel rejected as a taxpayer. It's an embarrassment.
I wasn't rejected, but I know what's going on.
Yeah,
But we were in another county meeting and it was said that you had to be an elite to get an invitation
That
and the
is
rest
very
of the
true.
unemployed individuals were not invited.
yeah, and we're poor individuals,
Yeah.
by the way, to
People
attend these
sitting in the
meetings in
meeting.
Wamister.
It was disturbing.
It's ridiculous.
it was actually
So
said in
I'll-
a meeting, only elite people can show up.
It was said, you can watch it on video, you had to be an
And who made
elite.
that comment?
Don
Attend.
Hernandez and the county
Wait,
commissioners.
one at a time.
It was a different meeting, not TIFA.
It was Don Hernandez at the county commissioners meeting, not this meeting, the last one. Just
No,
listen,
just
you
Mr.
should,
Engel?
you should listen to it, it's just a perspective of what you guys must think when you go in there having your tea parties.
It was a very, I think it was a very successful and very fun,
Oh, we heard it was a
TIFA.
great meeting, we did hear it was a good
Party,
meeting. We
not
heard it was
meeting.
good.
It's a very successful fundraiser. I seen Peggy there and seen her recording and.
Peggy?
Penny. And, no, nothing on the Hillsdale Republican site or her sites, anything about it. I was kinda
Don
disappointed.
Hernandez was there.
I'm just expressing what somebody said in the community, that was all
You
I had
know,
to go by, but elite, and Mr. McLean, that's a, you know, a family that,
I stand by Mr. McLean
Yeah.
1,000%, as well as
Okay.
Lance,
Okay.
and Mr.
Part of the
Gallagher.
problem is, I think, most of the problem is that the tickets had names on them and you wasn't getting in if you didn't have a name on the ticket. There shouldn't be names on tickets for government events, and
amen.
that's what's
It
going
was a
on.
fundraiser to raise money to install audio, visual, and stage equipment for the Dawn Theater.
Which I think
That's-
everybody agrees, that's
That's
fine.
fair game,
Um,
to-
Fundraiser.
to selective elite individuals, I mean, it's okay.
They're open to anyone. Jack McLean was at the previous 3 meetings where we described how one gets a ticket, and that's call or email. You were,
But that's
So you
being
couldn't
selective.
it had to,
it's not being selective.
So then are you gonna pay taxes on the money you made?
But Mr.
Being tax
McLean
exempt.
doesn't feel the same way, what did they tell you?
I thought I could mail my request into their mail,
Into the PO box for the ticket.
and that's what I did.
No, you had your daughter-in-law, your daughter,
My daughter,
send in a check for 6 will call tickets.
yeah,
They didn't do that. Nowhere did it say that that was an option, and if you had any
When did you send out your
Question.
check?
on that, you called. And you did call Mary.
yeah, it was hard to
Yes.
get a hold of Mary. In fact, Matt tried calling
She
her.
answered your phone twice to
Oh,
speak with you regarding this matter. And every time you said, okay, I gotta go, okay. You're either misremembering this.
No, I remember talking to her, I do, and I made my mind up I wasn't gonna buy any,
Check.
but
When did,
I-
let them talk.
my daughter had sent in to the post office box requesting the tickets. She works out of state, so there's no way she could get the tickets and possibly lose them in the mail. So for that reason, we
Jack, the
did,
reason there were names on any of the tickets was because you said you were gonna bring homeless people into the Dawn Theater.
and what's wrong with that?
As a joke.
What's
You
wrong
said
with
that as a
that?
joke.
So what's wrong with that?
Shouldn't matter if they have a ticket.
No, it shouldn't.
That's right, and that they should be able to have a ticket.
No, but you were just as nameless people, Jack. You didn't, in that reference, in that statement that you made, you didn't care who they were.
No, I don't, I wouldn't have.
No. It was a stunt. And they put names on these tickets to just try to formalize.
And they had to name.
But the directions didn't say you had to name each ticket, did they?
I don't care if there's names on the tickets or not. My daughter's check had her name on it. That letter was addressed to her saying, we're refusing to sell you tickets. We'll read it, that's what it says. We don't know you, for that reason you're not getting tickets. If it was a total
Do
private
you have that
party,
letter up there?
Hmm?
Do you have that letter?
yeah,
And Jackie, when did you send that check? When did she send the check?
Just
How long
Patty.
before you
That's
got the
what I do.
response?
I think it was mailed on the 26th,
Okay.
Yeah.
January.
And when was the event?
It explains the will call.
Can I ask a
There is no
question?
will call window at this event.
Yeah,
And we do need to know the names of our guests. Unfortunately, we have no way of reaching you except for this post office box. Tickets may be purchased by emailing Friends of the Dawn or calling Mary Wolfram at the phone number.
yeah. But I
That's
didn't get that letter
explicit.
back until the deadline of buying tickets.
So you make a phone call.
So you couldn't buy tickets, the deadline was up. When that letter came in, the deadlines were up. I'm not trying to make a stink about it, I just think,
It
If
feels
you're
to me,
gonna have
Jack,
a
that you're
group-
fabricating,
I'm
or
not.
misrepresenting the facts to fulfill your vendetta against this project. That's how it's.
I donated more money than anyone in this room to that project, and I'll guarantee that.
I think you're the only.
As a
guy
private
that-
individual, I'm the only one that donated money to that project.
Okay.
So don't tell me it's a vendetta against it.
That's how it's coming off to me.
What?
That's how it's coming off to me, Jay.
Why? I'm the only one that donated money in this room.
You know, two things could be right, right?
Both
Could be
of
right
them,
that you're the
yeah.
only one that donated $1,000 cash to it.
Yeah.
And he could be right that he feels that this is a vendetta. I mean, when you make a public comment that you're going to give tickets to homeless people.
So what?
He should be able to, it's his guy.
I should be able to.
I gotta disagree.
Is
I
there
think it's an
anywhere in the
insult.
rules that says it's only for elites?
Can I give you my opinion?
Yeah.
Sure. I think it's an insult. I think it was always gonna be a fundraiser, and I think it was done to be disrespectful, plain and simple.
Yeah, but.
And if it's a comment to stir things up, I mean, I don't know anybody that likes to stir things up before you get in the door and maybe put yourself in this position. Jack, I have not heard this whole thing at all, but I've heard bits and pieces around. And if you think it's reasonable to do that, you're just wrong. I'm sorry, you're just wrong. I can't find it acceptable with myself or anybody else I know to go to.
So the homeless aren't good enough if they really wanted to come to your event, they would be excluded from your elite event?
If they could buy their
They
ticket,
aren't worthy of a ticket because
if they
Mr.
could buy their
McLean-
ticket,
Mr. McLean has a right to buy anybody's ticket. That did not,
Yes, he does.
that did
And he had
not
option,
give any
he had every
directive.
option to do so.
He did, and it didn't give any directive to say that he could not do that.
Exactly. If he,
So
if
if
he
you're gonna
had
have an
particular
event, you need to
people,
be
if he had
directionally.
individuals, he was just coming, the statement was that he was going to go and pass
And
them
he
out.
could, because your letter did not say he could not do that.
The goal of the fundraiser is to raise funds.
Then write the goal on that. You say
It's
the
in the
homeless
name.
aren't worthy of giving you enough money for.
it's in the name, it's a fundraiser.
Well, what's the homeless got to do with it if they can't do it? You're saying they're not worthy of giving money?
You're making an assumption that they have money to give.
They could. How would you know if they did? A penny would be a donation.
A week and a half later, there was an open event that was open.
But
That was not a
You
fundraiser.
did not designate that event,
Was for private, just like with
It was
plans.
designated, it was a
or that you were picking and
fundraiser.
choosing who could be a part of it. So you're
No
punishing.
one picked and chose who could be a part of. There was a clearly explained manner to acquire tickets. Jack McLean chose not to.
You
Was that
spanked him,
explained?
you basically punished him based on your thoughts, because you would have given him the tickets. If it was honestly a fundraiser, you would have wanted his $300. That's how I see it as a citizen.
Okay.
So now with that money you
Everything
received,
you're saying is right in your mind, and
well,
that's fine.
I just thought for
Is there any
conversation.
other people that wanna comment, or is there any other complaint besides this ticket issue?
Yeah, I have a complaint. This is against,
Should this go to public comments then, or is?
Let's move it to public
That's-
comments, and, okay, cause, and.
Can I say one thing real quick? When we move to public comment?
Moving to committee members' comments, which is next on the agenda before public comment.
That's-
We can do that, nice segue. I think you should bring this before TIFA, not just this board.
Oh, I agree. I'm just, my personal reasoning is TIFA is giving all the power to do anything in the Dawn Theater to this group of people, which have nothing to do with TIFA or anything else. And that's my problem with it, because I wanna see the TIFA get representation on everything that goes on in there,
So,
according to the
to that point,
contract.
I think it should go before TIFA, because I think that this whole thing has brought up the fact that there shouldn't be names on tickets, there should have never been names on tickets. And the only board that can take care of that problem is the TIFA board.
Okay. Chris, and I'm just gonna say this, I think you're great in this position, I actually recommended you to the mayor to be reappointed to this, because I think you're understanding and I think you're level-headed about this stuff. I just want you to understand that, that's how I feel about you. I just don't think that my daughter was treated right in the way that went, and now it's overflowing onto my grandson, which I don't think is right either. And it's all coming from either TIFA or the Friends of the Dawn, which is Greg Bailey, which I will talk personally with Greg Bailey about why his group refused my money.
From my understanding,
My
TIFA
daughter's.
has oversight of the Friends, so this should be able to get taken care of for you. I would think.
Now, is it the Friends of the Dawn or the Friends of the Dawn of Hillsdale, Michigan? Cause see, there's another
No.
conflict I don't agree with.
That's all I got.
And that was, committee members' comments?
Yes.
Public comment? And, yes, sir.
I
Mr.
have a
Engels.
public comment. So you're talking about changing up some parking and one-way street access. Just a general comment, is the city of Adrian eliminated one-way streets, in the community that increase access. They eliminated one-way streets to increase access. And any one-way, just by reasonable definition, will create single direction access. However, and wherever that one-way is. So the study to try and open things up is absolutely one that makes more sense if you're trying to thrive your community. Now, as far as McCollum Street and closing it off, Ms. Gauser and I have talked historically over the last few years about the possibility of the county taking over that full and make it kind of a mall area. We are in transition of trying to decide what to do with the annex building. We're in transition trying to decide what to do with the main courthouse. And because of the transition part of that statement, I haven't, and the board has not come to TIFA or the city council to try and, decide what to do with that short street. But it could be in our future. Don't know, because we're in such transition.
I like the whole opening things up, and that'd be cool if we could do that, but.
It's public comment.
Right. Can I talk to the public?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Well, just because he's.
Not supposed to?
Mainly just because you're the commissioner, it's like, I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, just to spitball with you,
Well, we
If
can
we
do
could-
that later.
okay, we'll talk later then, never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
not interaction.
I have a couple of things in the public comment.
Anybody else? Anybody else besides Jack have a public comment?
Yeah, I do. I think it's great that you have this program. I wish you to use it more wisely. One of my main concerns is that the Dawn Theater is being leased out to CNL Enterprises. Are they still paying taxes? Or does that make them exempt or not exempt? Those are some questions I have to keep in mind. And if that is that kind of management and they have found a way to not pay taxes when they're supposed to, I think that's a big red flag. Also, I'm hoping to see more parking spaces and more things for children if they were walking around at the ice cream car, or more community things. But for the most part, my big thing is against CNL Enterprises, the way the Dawn was put together. I like Jack, I don't like to see anybody left out of anything, homeless or not. We're all God's creation, and none of us would be here without each other. Thank you.
So I believe they're still paying, property taxes on the Dawn?
Yeah,
It's a customary triple net
it's,
lease.
there,
They are.
so
paying
as
taxes.
of
March
March first, the Dawn Theater is no longer tax exempt
Thank you,
because
that's
it's now, a leased for-profit business.
Right.
Thank you.
I think that was the most important question or comment, all that.
Excellent.
Anybody else?
No, that's great, thank you.
Jack?
Okay, I think a good project would be, and this could be good for TIFA and the city, the Mitchell building. Could be a great project. The city, like, they'd love to get out from under it, and it would be a good project. It's in the TIFA district. Could be a great project for TIFA. I know it's another big dollar thing, but it could be grants and all this stuff where it's not that much money out of TIFA. The city, and I'm just saying this off the top of my head, would probably almost give it to TIFA. It still stays in the city no matter what, but would be a great project. That's my feeling about it. Could draw a lot of people downtown, you know, the building being restored and, you know, maybe even restored back to like a library with only certain older books in it. Maybe using the old card files again and stuff like that. I think that would be a great project. Like I said, I think the city would give it to TIFA.
Okay.
My other thing was, McCollum Street used to be an angle parking street at one time. So, years ago, back in the 60s. So it couldn't be done there, and I'm trying to remember if the one street was parallel parking and the north side of the street was angle parking.
That side is definitely bigger.
Yeah, when the soda shop was there on the corner, that place boomed. I mean, the soda shop did when Sullivan's had it and stuff, so, you know, it could happen.
I was always told Howell was always two-way down in the,
It was.
Yeah.
It was forever, yeah. Another thing, and this doesn't have a lot to do with anything, but the Dawn Theater always had a yellow line out in front of the Dawn Theater, the size of the marquee. And it was for dropping people off and picking people up. That yellow line is no longer there, it's a parking spot. I think it should go back to a yellow line. And that old guy
That'd be
that
cool.
worked it, every night the police would go down there about 9:30 and pick him up, take him to the bank. And they'd always pull up in that parking spot, or not a parking spot. And I think that would bring back a lot to the Dawn Theater. I really do.
so that's something for the city again, too, right?
Yeah, and I brought it
That
up
would
to
be
city
interesting,
council.
like a traffic control order, and that would be something that council and the police department would have done.
I talked to the city council about it last night. Cause I don't know how many people can remember that, but, you know, I'm talking, I went there in the early 50s, so.
I remember, I'm not that old yet, so.
But I remember that part of it, you know, so, I'm done.
Anybody else with public
I'll
comment?
vote for that library right here with Jack, only if it has the ice cold water fountain that it always had. When you were a kid, you got to go in that front door and drink out that water fountain, that's the best. That'd be cool.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Alright.